Welcome to The Early Escape. What's your next phase? The podcast for dreamers, doers, and anyone who's ever felt the weight of the Sunday scaries or the call for something more. I'm your host, Iramis, a certified life and travel coach, and every week we will dive into real conversations about navigating burnout, planning early retirement, career changes, life reinvention, and what it really takes to step into your next chapter. Whether you're craving freedom, fulfillment, or just a break from the ordinary, this space is for you. It's time to challenge the script, rethink what's possible, and start building a life that actually feels like yours. Let's explore your next phase together. Hey, today's episode, we're going to be talking about out of sync, loneliness, and living life at a different speed and a different path. Have you ever felt that your life is just so different than others, that your relationships with the people around you are different than others, that even the relationship with your spouse is different than your friends' relationships with their spouse? And has that feeling left you lonely and feeling like there was something wrong with you or something missing? Yeah, I've felt that too. My spouse Jerry has also felt that too. And I think that we all feel that at some point in our life, different stages of our life, different phases of our life. The question is, how do we get through it? How do we get pushed through it? And if we need to push through it and we just have to accept that our life will be different. That's what we're going to be talking about today. The fundamental question is going to be, what happens when that life doesn't match the pace of others? And how can you find peace with yourself and figure out how to connect with them in a different way? Those are always hard questions to understand. It's always hard questions to even digest within ourselves. I want to share a story that I found that my life has always been at a different pace than everyone else's. It started when I was in grade school. I was the only Spanish speaker in a school of 250 kids, elementary school, that only spoke English. I managed to be put in a couple of ESL classes until my mother said, absolutely not. She goes to regular classes. And at that point, the teachers were like, well, she could fail. She's like, she's not going to fail. She'll be fine. I didn't fail. Then came high school. And in high school, I was, again, awkward kid, that bilingual speaker in a town that didn't have a lot of bilingual speakers. Mostly either you spoke only Spanish and you spoke only English. And again, my mother chose that she was not going to put me in ESL classes. She was going to put me in regular classes, and if I failed, I failed. Well, I didn't fail. I became an honor student, went on to university, and I thought, hey, at university, I'm going to find my people. There's going to be a plethora of different types of people, and I'm going to figure out and I'm going to find a home there. I did find a home there, but it was never the home that everyone thought about. It's not like today I have tons of girlfriends and friends and just people that I can connect with. They're acquaintances. I talk to them once in a while, but it's not the great friendships that people think that they're going to have when they're at university. And I'm okay with that. But it took a long time to be okay with that. Then you hit real life. You graduate from university and you're thinking, I'm an adult. I have to go pay rent. I got to go get a car. I have to get a real job and start connecting with people that are going to be in my career. People that are going to be my friends potentially for a lifetime, my network. And years later, after elementary, I still sometimes feel like that first kid going to school for the first day. And it's interesting that the people that I know, I have made great connections with. I have made friendships with, but some of them are not as deep as I would like them to be. And it's always because I am just not in sync with them. And the only time that I managed to be in sync with someone was when I met my husband. One of the first times in my life, I managed to be 100% myself. And one of the first questions he asked me was, do I want kids? And I said, no. And he said, ever. And I said, never, ever. It's never going to happen. And he said, do you want to meet my mom? And that's really how our relationship started. The one time that I was 100% myself and I was honest and I said, I don't care if this guy doesn't see me again. It doesn't matter. I was myself and it worked out. We've been together for 20 years. And although he and I have always been in sync, our life has been completely out of sync with everyone else around us. He's always felt that awkward feeling at work, like he kind of was out on the outskirts and he doesn't really belong. And that's the same thing that's always happened to us. That's the same thing that's happened to me. I've always been in, but not fully like in that in crowd, that feeling that you truly belong. And it's because my life was always ahead. When my spouse and I got together, our life was so ahead of everyone else. Our friends, even our family members. We were the first ones to get married. We were the first ones to have a house. We were the first ones to go on the crazy trips. We were the first ones to get a second home. And we are the first ones that have ever said, hey, when we retire. And over the years, the divide, instead of lessen, has gotten greater and greater. And we continue to struggle on a daily basis on how we can continue to align and connect with others when our life is so far ahead of the others. I hope this story helps you understand where we are, and it possibly helps you understand where you are. And really what it's about is that you're not alone, that it's happening to all of us, and it's happening to different ways. I think that it's okay to feel like this. You are not the only one. The question is, how are you going to get through these feelings and understand that they are normal, that it's okay to have them, and that there's others around you that can help you and you can share with you? How can you find your community that will help you vocalize your feelings so that you are in a free and open space to have these type of discussions? Well, here you are. I hope this podcast, this channel, helps you grow and helps you understand that you can do it your way. These moments of feeling out of sync don't just happen randomly. They are going to happen in different phases of your life. It could be your personal life. It could be with your family. Maybe your siblings are older than you or younger than you. Maybe your parents are older than some of your other friends' parents or younger. It's going to happen in your career. Maybe you're thinking about early retirement, a potential career pause, or even just a sabbatical. All these thoughts are happening to you while all your friends are just climbing this ladder that you might have already reached your final step. And it's time for you to take a step back. There's going to be relationships, your personal ones and your private ones. The idea that you could be single and everyone else around you is getting married and having kids. It's not your gig. You don't want to do that. Or vice versa, that you are the one that's getting married and having kids and everyone else is single. You're going to have some sense of loneliness and detachment at that point. Of course, there's the geography and the lifestyle. Geography makes a big impact in our lives because we surround ourselves with our family and friends, and then sometimes our job or relationship takes you away. And it's time for you to make that change and leave everything that you've known behind. That alone can make anyone lonely. There's the other idea that lifestyle change, because you will continue to evolve. We're all evolving. Maybe you want to do a minimalistic lifestyle. You want to give away possessions or consume less. The idea of over-consuming is something that a lot of people have been struggling with. Downsizing, minimizing. The idea that you want to give away all your stuff, sell your house, and start slow traveling and live a nomadic lifestyle. that alone can challenge the status quo, because people are going to look at you and say, what are you doing? What do you mean you're traveling the world? What about your job? Well, that can give you a sense of loneliness alone. Even thinking about it could be a mental challenge and a mental struggle. And then, of course, personal development. Going through these things alone might not be the best way, and you might need some soul searching, some healing, and potentially ways to find how to get through this. Going through therapy is something that works for a lot of people. Getting a coach, that could also work for you. When I think of all these pieces, I look around the people that I've surrounded myself with, my family, my friends, folks from people in my career and people in my network. And I start to look around and see, what are the people that are happy? Who are the people that are really finding value with everything that they do? And those are the people that I ask to coach me. Those are the people that I reach out to ask them how they did it. Not so that I could do it the same way they did, but to understand the thoughts and the decisions that got them to where they are today. When these folks started opening up their thoughts, their feelings, the way that they process their decisions, two things stood out. One is that we're all human, and two is that we can all feel lonely. Doesn't matter how old we are, how much family we have around us, how many friends we have, the community that we have, the great jobs, the great house, wonderful kids. All of that doesn't matter. We can all feel some sense of loneliness and lack of belonging somewhere at some time. And the idea is that, how do we vocalize that? Some of the people that I talk to are very eloquent, and they knew exactly what to say. They knew exactly how to guide me. And I loved that the words that they use were giving me their experience and not telling me what to do. I loved that. And those are the conversations that brought the most value to me. Another thing that reminded me as to why I was feeling so lonely is because I kept comparing myself to other people. Why I did that? Because I'm a human. Just like I said in the first point, that's the one thing we all have in common, is that we're all humans. And we can't help but do that. Every day, the news, commercials, social media, yes, all of the platforms, they have examples and they're pushing someone else's best life. It's so funny. I always call social media the 1%. Everyone's showing the 1% of their perfect day. When their hair looked good, the makeup looked good, the kids were all behaving, or you were driving that fancy car that you've been working for so long, or you took that vacation that you had been planning for years. Well, that's your 1%. What I'm interested in is, what's the other 99%? And that's how I stopped comparing myself to others. Because the other 99%, I know it was a hot mess. One of the things that always caused me loneliness is my cultural background. Another thing that made me lonely and feel like I was out of sync was the fact that I was the only Puerto Rican that was getting married but didn't have kids. I gotta tell you, that really pushed me over the edge sometimes. My mom and grandma would still ask me, do you want kids? I said, no, I don't want kids. What part of I'm not having kids don't you get? They still had hope until I was 40. And finally I hit 41 and they gave up. And it's interesting how that bothered me for the longest time, because for many, many years, people kept asking the same question to Jerry and I. So when are you going to have kids? And eventually I would just stop answering and I just started walking away. And that's something I had to do for myself. Talk about cultural angst. As it is, I'm the only Puerto Rican that I know that doesn't like beans. I know. I don't get it either. Comment below if you don't like beans and you're Hispanic. And finally, that lack of shared values between others and my life. It was the idea that there was a status quo, that there was just a way that everyone did it, and you should follow it. I didn't follow any rules. I didn't follow any script. I think I took the script, ripped it, and burnt it. And you know what? I'm still rewriting the script. So I couldn't give you this perfect typed out life plan if I wanted to, because I'm still in the middle of it. It's funny when I say I'm in the middle of it because I'm halfway through my life right now and I haven't figured it out yet. And that's okay. And I don't think you should either. What I think that you should do is just throw away all these thoughts that you're having and keep the ones that make the most sense to you. Keep the ones that are going to continue to raise you, to elevate you, to help you move forward. I want to really leave you with these 5 ideas. That is to have the power of intentional living and self-alignment. Do the homework. It's going to be hard. It is going to take a lot of strength, and you're going to have to tell yourself the truths and write those truths down so that you can look back on them and know that they are not static, that they will continue to change. The next thing is you're going to start aligning yourself with like-minded communities. I don't care what you use. I don't care if you use YouTube. I don't care if you are finding folks on the internet, if you're finding a local group. It doesn't matter how you find them, but find them, because they are the ones that are going to help you through the process. You won't be able to do this alone. We all need our own tribe, our own community, our own team to help us, to cheer us, even if it's from the sidelines. One of the big things is you're going to have to shift from that feeling that you're comparing your life all the time to others and start thinking about life curiously. What do I mean is be curious about everything. Start exploring different ways that you can shift your mindset. If you want to be a traveler, then travel. Start understanding what travel means to you, why it is that you want to travel. If you want a career change, then get a coach. Figure out what it is that you want to do. Do the homework. Write down your goals. Write down your thoughts. Have diarrhea of the mouth. This is between you and yourself. You and a piece of paper. You want to write? Write on the computer. It doesn't matter the tools that you use as long as you use something and start the process. Find fulfillment in the current timeline. Be present. You can always look back because we want to learn from the back and we don't want to repeat our mistakes. But be present. Forget about the past. It's already gone. It's already happened. You can't change it. Be present with yourself. Be present with your spouse. Be present with your friends and be present with your coworkers. Your network is out there and they're ready to help you. You have to be present. Show up. Be there so that they can help you and they can guide you to whatever your next phase is going to be. And finally, start journaling. Start reflecting in the morning, the middle of the day in the afternoon. Doesn't matter if the journal's on your phone or if you want to do old school and get a beautiful notebook and write down your thoughts. Get them out of your head because they're there. They're probably not helping you fall asleep. Just get them out. You might see a pattern that you will be able to discover, and you can help yourself. And find something that becomes your mantra. Find something that you get up every morning and you say, this is what I'm going to do. My mantra has always been, do it your way, and who cares about the rest? That's something that I tell myself every single morning, and I continue to say that to myself several times a day, especially when folks are challenging me to do it the way that it was done before. Being out of sync doesn't mean that you're wrong. It doesn't mean that you are drastically different or that everyone should judge you. To me, it means you're awake. It means that you woke up and that you want to see what's going to be different. You want to see what life has to offer. You want to do it your way. You're going to make yourself happy, because once you make yourself happy, you can help others. That's how I feel. I feel awake. Ever since I decided that it was okay to be out of sync, my life has opened up to different possibilities, things that I never even thought were possible. I hope that you can find the way for you to be fully awake, that you're able to connect with yourself and understand your goals and your passions and where those are going to lead you. I encourage you to stay awake, to keep exploring and find community. Your community could be right here. Leave comments below and see what others have to say about your thoughts. I encourage all the listeners to figure out your own timing, to embrace the fact that you are going to have to change, that others will look at you and probably judge you, and that is okay. They're living their life. You're going to live your life. You're going to live your truth. You're going to live the way that you want to do. You're going to work the way that you want to work, and you are going to surround yourself with the community that it's going to embrace you and that they're going to lift you up. I invite everyone that's listening to leave stories below and share with others, because you're not alone. Thanks for joining me on the Early Escape What's Your Next Phase. I hope today's conversation sparked something real for you. If you're feeling the pull toward change, whether it's a new career, a lifestyle shift, or that dream trip you keep putting off, you're not alone, and you don't have to figure it out alone. Be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with someone who's ready for their own escape. And if you're curious about working together through life or travel coaching, head to our website, iramisandjerry.com, or our Instagram handle at @iramisandjerry, and you'll get more information that way. I'd love to connect and see how we can help each other. Until next time, take a deep breath, trust the pull, and keep moving towards your next phase.